Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing some editing for my last book in the Crystal Water series. Last year I finished my last book. We did it together, of course, in the NaNoWriMo monthly challenge, which is where you have to write 50,000 words in the month of November, and I knew that I needed roughly around that. I think it was just over, because I always like to keep each chapter sort of the right sort of length, so I figured out how much I needed. So I just ran up the stairs, so I'm a little bit out of breath. So today I'm going to do my edits. I've been waiting for a year, nearly a year, to get these back. I use a good lady that does my edits, and I've used her all the way through the Crystal Water series, and she is a friend as well as you know, a teacher and an editor and that. But I knew she was going to take her quite a long time on my book, because she has a few personal problems, but I was determined to stick by her because she'd done all the others, and being superstitious, and we've got to see it to the end, of course. I really wanted her to do them, so I finally got them back. I put them in last December, and it's now November the following year. And we're going to get on with them today, and I'm going to show you the process of publishing my book, because obviously I self-publish. I've got all my documents here. I've got my mints, I've got my drink, I've got my pen, I've got some music, and we're going to get on with it. So I'll take you along on the journey. Get into changing the headers on the document. I've done a few already, so here we can double click, right click on the header itself to change it, and you have to press the link to previous, which we want to unlink, because we want it to change every chapter. In this case it's called Ghost Town, so I changed the previous one, which was called The Embrace. We delete that and type out Ghost Town. I like to use the paragraph, the space bar, so I know exactly where I am, and I just sort of eyeball it where I'm going to put everything. There probably is a much easier way to do this, which a lot of people who are familiar with Word document probably have a much easier way to do this, but this is the way that I do it. I eyeball it, and I use the spaces to have a good look, to make sure it's sort of in the center. It's different from the previous one, as you can see. So now this chapter says Ghost Town. We scroll down quickly to the next chapter, and the next chapter is called Nowhere to Hide. So we want to change that. Right click on the header, press the link to previous to unlink it, and we press the spaces so that we can have a look to see how central it is. Type out your new paragraph title, and then when I just delete, you can see all the dots indicate how many spaces there is, and sometimes it takes a little bit of jiggling around just to get it right where in the right position. Obviously I want the page to be page number to be right, flush on the margin there. So that's how I do it. So we're going to have another look, scroll to the next chapter, and this one's called Kalaise. And I'm going to, because it's an unusual name, I'm going to paste and copy this time, and just to show you what I'm going to how I do it. So I just highlight the old the previous chapter and paste it into there, but as you can see it's like too big and it's all in capital and upper and lowercase, so I want to change all that, change it all to uppercase. I change the size, and then I centralize it again, so it's the page is sort of the page numbers are flush with the margin again, and that's how I tend to do it. So hopefully this is a little bit, I'm not explaining it very well, I'm not a very good teacher, am I? But this is how I do it, and this and that's how I like to, the pages to look like. I like to have crystal waters on the left hand side of the book when you open the page, which obviously on the document it's on the right, and the actual chapter name on the right hand side excuse me, right hand side of the book, so that you know which chapter you're on. I've seen this in I mean, it's not my original idea, I've seen it in previous books, and so and this is where I do it. So let's have a little, I'm going to speed everything up now because you don't want to just watch me do this, because it'd be very boring. We'll listen to some music while we do it. So now we come to the final part of the edits, and this is creating the contents page for Kindle. I obviously like paperback version and Kindle format for my books. I just wanted to briefly go through it, what I was doing. So I find the chapter, I've already started here obviously, I find the chapter that I want to bookmark, and in this case it's going to be chapter 6, and I highlight the actual heading. So you highlight the heading there, and you go into bookmark, and you press you type in what the heading is, but you're not allowed to have any spacing. If you have spacing, it won't add it. So you press add, the add button, and then you scroll back up to the contents page where the actual chapter is. You highlight the chapter and you add a hyperlink, and then you go into bookmarks and find the which is this case is the check line, and you press OK and OK, and that creates a hyperlink to the chapter. So when you are in your Kindle book, you can press on it and it takes you straight through to that chapter. I'll go through it again just so we've got it. This is obviously, I had to do quite a lot of research for this, but again, we're highlighting the heading, that the paragraph name. We're typing in this case it's called the embrace. Again, no spaces, make sure that there's no spaces, otherwise it won't add it. You add it to the bookmark, you add the bookmark, and then you go back up to the contents page, you highlight the chapter 7, the embrace, add a hyperlink, press bookmark, then you find the embrace within your bookmarks, press OK and OK, and again that puts the hyperlink in. So I hope this explains a little bit. If you really want me to go into greater detail in another video, just let me know in the comments below, but I'm going to speed it up for now. So now we come into the most important part, the self-publishing, and I use obviously KDP, which is part of the Amazon group, which used to be Creative Space. I think they merged, and so you go to kdp.amazon.com, and you create obviously I've got an account already, so you create your account. And then you go into your what they call a bookshelf, and I'm going to create a paperback. So I've clicked on the paperback version, and the first page comes up with the paperback details. So the book title is Crystal Waters' Last Trip to South America, and that's obviously you can have a subtitle, that's optional, but I just put it all into one. It is part of a series, so it's the Crystal Water series and book 7. The author, obviously, that's me, Diana Rozevskis, and I'm also the illustrator, which I can't find at the moment. There it is. And so I put me in as the illustrator because I do the book covers and the chapter drawings. And then you come to the description, and I always put, I mean, you can use up to 4,000 words, but just to keep it sort of brief and neat and tidy and to the point, I just use my book blurb that goes on to the back of the book. So this is what you see when you go into Amazon. It just it gives you like a brief hook to get get people enticed in reading your book. So I'm going to just copy and paste, because I've done a book blurb already, and I'm going to paste it into the description box there. There is a lot of obviously characters left, but like I said, it's nice and brief. I own the publishing rights, you tick that box, and now you come into the keywords, which people would, when they're looking on Amazon, they're looking for keywords, and Crystal Waters and Diana Rozevskis, children's books, these are all keywords that, you know, like, so people helps you find your books. And it's a fantasy book, and it's a magic book, it's fictional, and so these are all tags that people can, you know, like, be able to find your book easily. And it's a paperback version. And you choose your categories, which is juvenile fiction, and then you can go into the more detailed area, which is fantasy and magic. So you can have a really good read of that. And then obviously you have to make sure that it has no adult content. Mine's a children's book, so mine hasn't. Well, obviously if you have, you tick the other box. We're on to the next page, which is the paperback content. And the good news is, when you self-publish with KDP, you not only get it free, but you get a free ISBN, which is the number that goes on, or the code that goes on the back of the book. So here I'm creating print options. I like black and white interior with cream paper, 5 by 8 inches, no bleed. I like a glossy finish. I'm doing it very super fast here because otherwise this video will be very, very long. I'm going to upload my manuscript, which I've put it into a PDF file, which is recommended because nothing gets moved around. Sometimes when you upload Word documents, things can jiggle around, and in a PDF file they don't. They seem to stay in the same place. So here we're going to do the book cover. I've obviously do my own book covers. You can choose. They've got some really, really nice designs, and you don't have to do your own. I make it very complicated for myself, but I like all my books have a certain look, and you can go and get their template, which works out how big, you know, the spine will be according to the page count. Mine is 318, so I've downloaded a template so that the spine is the right size for the number of pages that are going to be in my paperback. There's my template. I've already I'm going through this again because I've already done this, but I wanted to quickly show you because I forgot to film when I was doing it in the first time. So I've already got a template there, but we'll do it again for you know, so I can show you. Sorry. So there I've got the template. I'm going to close that up and I'll take a just copy it. If I right click, I can copy. There it is. And then what I do, I mean, it's probably not the best place to put it to do it, but I go into Paint, and it's always been very, very reliable for me. So I go into Paint. It's free. You have to expand the canvas if you're going to paste it, and there's the template. So all you have to do is pop on top your covers, and I've got them in 3 separate pieces, which is the front cover, which I'm going to copy again. Right click and copy, and it'll come up, paste, and then we move it over to the right hand side, because that's where the that's what, you know, if you look at a book cover, if you take a book cover off, that's where it is, on the right hand side. And I take it right up to the lines so that that it fits properly. We're putting now in the spine of the book. I've already done this earlier. Obviously you can see it's a little bit small, so we need to expand it right to the edges, and it gives you a good guideline where the dotted lines and where everything's going to go. And obviously I want it lining up and it looks neat and tidy with the design that I've got. We're going to look for the back cover now, which is there. There we go. And again, copy, and we're going to paste it onto the back. That was actually quite nearly spot on. So we need to just jiggle it around so it makes it neat, and because I like obviously a visual, you know, obviously don't judge a book by its cover, but most people do, and it has to look professional and clean looking. It's something that I would like to pick up myself. There you can see I've just left a little gap, so I'm going to just go back and make sure that it's okay. There's no sort of template showing up underneath it, because that would just spoil the look of the book. So there we go. We're going to save the file, but what I do is I save it to a JPEG, which is there. So I save it to a JPEG, and what we really need to do to upload it to the KDP, we need to create a PDF file, which isn't on Paint. So I go into Google, if it allows me. I go into Google and I type in there it is, right on the top, JPEG to PDF, and this is a free download. Again, you like free things, so we upload the file that we want to convert into a PDF, which is there, and at the bottom you can see it's converting it. You can download it, and it's now a PDF file, and it hasn't cost you a penny, which is always nice, because you know things cost things these days, and it's nice to keep the cost down anyway. So as you can see, I uploaded a cover earlier and it was the wrong file, so just ignore that bit. That was a really old first cover when I first started, but it will come up. I'm just going to launch the previewer, and it'll you can have a really good look at it. It's just preparing your files, and I've speeded up this bit because it did take a bit of time, checking the margins, checking for blank pages, creating a barcode, blah blah blah. And it says go and grab a sandwich and a coffee. It sometimes takes a few minutes, and you can't rush this process. I'll put my teeth in. There we have the preview. That's the front cover, and we're going to just click through and have a little look at all the pages, see if they look okay. You can go through the whole entire book if you want at your own leisure, but obviously I'm not going to do this for quickness, and I think we go through to like chapter 2, and it's looking okay. So we're going to the next step is to press approve, and then you go to, I think it's the final page once you've done that. Oh, and it gives you the printing cost, how much it's going to cost you to get it printed per book. So it's going to cost me $4.67. Now on the final, it's the pricing and royalty, and it gives you a minimum. I usually like to put the minimum just because I'm a new author, and I like to entice people to try and buy my book. You can expand distribution, but you have to obviously up your price a little bit. And then when you've done all that, you can go and press publish your paperback book. Hello guys, I've got some exciting news to tell you. My book has arrived, and I'm really impressed with the KDP. I mean, I was impressed with Creative Space before, but now they've merged with KDP, which is Kindle Publishing Direct, which is all sort of involved with the Amazon group, which means that your books go straight out to Amazon. And I think I'm shaking the camera, sorry. But it was the process. I just looking at my email, and I sent off my order for my books. I ordered 25 books just to start off with, to see if they were alright, and I ordered them on the 3rd of December, and they arrived yesterday, which was the 11th. So it's only really 8 days, which is just over a week, and considering that it's the Christmas period, I thought there would be, I thought I was pushing it quite a lot to get them back for Christmas, but they've arrived, and I'm going to start packing up orders. But I wanted to show you first my book. I'm really pleased with it. The quality is really good, and it's just amazing that this is my last book in the series. It's a quite sad emotional moment really, because I've been working on the Crystal Waters book series now for over 13 years, and I started it just with not even an intention of anybody reading it, but as the story developed and my manuscript grew, I started to get people who, I did actually let people read it, and people liked it. And the story goes, I was persuaded by my teacher, who was it was a creative writing teacher, and she told me that because she read it and she loved it, and she said, you've got to enter this for a competition, Diana. So I thought, well, I didn't know if it was going to be any good, but I thought I've got nothing to lose. And the competition was called the Northern Star Writing Competition, and it was for children's writers and new authors. And I thought I'd never hear anything back from them, but I actually came second in the competition, which I never ever thought I would achieve. So that sort of spurred me on to go ahead and let people read my stories. Cut a long story short, the actual company that was going to publish my book went into liquidation and went bankrupt, and I was absolutely gutted at the time, because I thought, this is the end of the journey. This is, you know, I'm not going to be able to publish anymore. And then some lovely people that I am friends with told me about self-publishing, and I thought it's not going to be a route for me, because I want to be traditionally published. I want an agent. I want to go down, but there's some actually, after a lot of research, I've seen that there's a lot of people who are famous that have self-published, and so it's not as bad as you think. It's just learning the process, and hopefully, you know, I don't want to waffle on too much, but hopefully I can sort of help you along if you were ever thinking about publishing a book yourself. You can always get in touch with me and leave comments down below just to see if you want any questions answered. I'm trying to cover as much as I can. Anyway, back to my book. Obviously I do the illustration work for it, because I'm an artist as well, which actually the only thing about self-publishing is the cost, because you have to get these processes, and designing the covers is one cost, and so I obviously can draw myself and illustrate myself. I did a BTEC graphic diploma course. So this is sort of the end of the journey really, after sort of like not knowing if I was going to publish at all, to getting the 7th book in the Crystal Waters series done, and I'm really delighted. So I'm hoping this is already up on Amazon, and I'm going to put it up on my Etsy store. If you go to my Etsy store, which is Die Arts Shop, you can get it signed, whereas if you go to the Amazon one, you won't get it signed. You get the same book, but you won't have it signed. So get along to the Etsy shop, and you'll get it directly from me. And if you like the digital version, I can't even speak this morning, I've got it on Kindle, so go and have a look. Anyway, I'm going to go and pack up some orders. I've got some, I think half of the books have gone already, with people answering emails and Facebook, so it looks like I might have to order some more. Anyway, there we go. Crystal Waters' last trip to South America. Yay!